Slow down. Take a breath. This message is not for people who are lazy. It is for people who are tired. Tired of pushing through days that never seem to end. Tired of waking up already exhausted. Tired of feeling like rest is something you must earn instead of something you need. You were told that success demands sacrifice, that pressure is proof you are doing something right, that exhaustion means you are committed. So you kept going. You ignored the tightness in your chest. You ignored the constant noise in your mind. You ignored the quiet voice telling you to slow down. You said, just a little more. Just one more push. Just until things get easier. But things do not get easier when you're burning yourself to stay ahead. Burnout does not arrive all at once. It builds silently. First, motivation fades. Then focus weakens. Then even small tasks feel heavy. You still show up, but you're no longer present. You are moving, but not progressing. You are busy, but not fulfilled. And somewhere along the way, you start blaming yourself. You think you are undisciplined. You think you are falling behind. You think the problem is you. It is not. The problem is the lie you were taught. Burnout is not ambition, exhaustion is not discipline, and suffering is not a requirement for success. We live in a world that glorifies constant effort. Busy schedules, late nights, endless urgency. Productivity became identity. Rest became weakness, and peace became optional. You learned to measure your worth by how much you could handle, how much you could endure, how much of yourself you could give away. But the human system was never designed for endless output. When you live in constant pressure, your nervous system stays on high alert. Your thinking becomes reactive. Your creativity shuts down. Your confidence erodes quietly. You do not perform at your best. You survive. And survival mode cannot build a meaningful life. Real success is not built on collapse. It is built on clarity. It is built on consistency. It is built on sustainability. This is where the shift begins, not by doing more, not by pushing harder, but by choosing differently. Success without burnout starts with a simple question. What actually matters? Not everything deserves your energy. Not every demand is urgent. Not every opportunity is aligned. When everything feels important, nothing truly is. You do not need to fill every hour of your day. You need to protect the hours that matter. Energy is your real currency, not time, not speed, not effort. And when you spend energy wisely, progress becomes lighter. You begin to move with intention instead of force, with focus instead of chaos, with calm instead of pressure. This is not quitting. This is not lowering standards. This is raising them. Because success that destroys you is not success at all. And you are allowed to build a life that does not require recovery from. Rest is strategy, not weakness. Rest has been misunderstood. For a long time, rest was treated like a reward. Something you were allowed to have only after everything was finished. Only after you proved yourself useful. Only after you were completely drained. So you learned to feel guilty when you slowed down. You felt uneasy when you were still. You felt behind when you rested. But rest is not the opposite of progress. It is part of it. Nothing grows without recovery. Not muscles, not focus, not creativity, not clarity. When you deny yourself rest, you don't become stronger. You become fragile. Your reactions sharpen, but your judgment weakens. You move faster, but in the wrong direction. You stay busy, but lose perspective. Burnout rest looks like collapse. It comes after damage has already been done. Intentional rest is different. It is chosen, not forced. Planned, not desperate. Intentional rest keeps you sharp. It protects your decision-making. It preserves your long-term vision. Rest is where integration happens. It is where lessons settle. It is where motivation quietly rebuilds itself. When you allow space, your mind organizes itself naturally. You stop reacting to everything. You start responding with clarity. This is why calm people often move faster in the long run. They waste less energy correcting mistakes made under pressure. Rest does not make you lazy. It makes you precise. And precision is power. You do not need to be available at all times. You do not need to answer every demand immediately. You do not need to prove your value through exhaustion. You are allowed to pause without falling behind. You are allowed to breathe without losing momentum. When rest becomes part of your rhythm, burnout loses its grip, and progress becomes sustainable. The power of doing less. Properly doing less does not mean caring less. It means caring more about what truly matters. Most people are overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they are doing too many things that do not matter. Every task drains energy. Every decision costs focus. Every commitment carries weight. When you say yes to everything, you dilute your impact. Doing less is an act of clarity. It requires you to ask hard questions. Is this necessary? Is this aligned? Is this moving my life forward? When you remove what does not matter, what remains becomes powerful. Focus sharpens. Effort becomes effective. Progress becomes visible. Busy people feel productive. Focused people create results. You do not need to respond to every message. You do not need to chase every opportunity. You do not need to solve every problem immediately. Some things improve when you leave them alone. Some decisions become clear when you wait. Some paths reveal themselves when you stop forcing. Doing less properly means working with intention. It means choosing quality over quantity, depth over noise. You stop multitasking and start committing. You stop scattering energy and start directing it. This is where confidence grows, not from doing everything, but from doing the right things well. And when your actions align with your priorities, effort feels lighter. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are cooperating with your capacity. That is how sustainable success is built. Calm discipline and a new definition of success. Discipline has been misunderstood. It was taught as punishment, as pressure, as forcing yourself to endure. But real discipline is not loud. It does not yell. It does not threaten. Real discipline is quiet consistency. It is showing up without drama. It's returning without self-judgment. It is continuing without burning yourself out. Calm discipline does not depend on motivation. It depends on trust. Trust that small steps compound. Trust that progress does not need pain. Trust that you do not have to break yourself to become better. The kind of discipline lasts. It does not collapse under stress. It adapts, it adjusts, it remains steady, and over time, it wins. Success without burnout feels different. You are not constantly chasing relief. You are not counting days until rest. You are not escaping your own life. You wake up grounded. You move with intention. You rest without guilt. You still work hard, but you no longer work against yourself. You measure success not just by outcomes, but by how you feel while building them. Peace becomes part of the goal. Health becomes non-negotiable. Sustainability becomes the standard. You stop confusing urgency with importance. You stop confusing pain with progress. You stop confusing exhaustion with worth. And finally, you understand this truth. Success does not demand your suffering. It rewards your alignment. You are allowed to grow calmly. You are allowed to succeed steadily. You are allowed to build a life that lasts. This is success without burnout. Choosing a life that lasts. This is where everything comes together, not in a rush, not in a dramatic breakthrough, but in a quiet decision, a decision to stop living in constant urgency, a decision to stop treating exhaustion as a requirement, a decision to stop sacrificing yourself to prove your worth. You do not need permission to slow down, but if you have been waiting for it, let this be it. Your life is not a race. There is no finish line where rest finally becomes allowed. There's only the rhythm you choose to live by, and you are allowed to choose a rhythm that supports you. You were never meant to operate at maximum output every day. You were meant to adapt, to recover, to grow. When you move at a sustainable pace, you begin to notice things again. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions stabilize, your confidence returns quietly. You stop reacting to everything around you. You start responding from intention. This is where real power lives, not in force, not in pressure, but in presence. Success without burnout means honoring your limits without letting them define you. It means pushing forward without abandoning yourself. It means ambition that is grounded, not frantic. You still dream, you still build, you still aim higher. But you do it with awareness. You learn to pause before saying yes. You learn to protect your energy. You learn that not everything deserves immediate action. And slowly, your life begins to feel lighter. Not because you care less, but because you care wisely. You stop measuring your days by how much you endured. You start measuring them by how aligned you felt. Aligned with your values, aligned with your body, aligned with the person you are becoming. This is the kind of success that lasts, the kind that does not require recovery, the kind that does not hollow you out. This is success without burnout.